Hello and welcome. This is my first live that I've done for a few weeks, so I am glad to be back. If you are on Instagram, can you just let me know that you can hear me okay? Sometimes I have problems with this. I've plugged my microphone in, but it should be on. So every Wednesday I like to go live on Facebook and Instagram. And the reason for this is to do kind of like mini trainings. So just a few things that will help you in your yoga practice, because that's what I'm all about, is spreading awareness of yoga and the benefits. And today we're actually talking about how you can join your first Zoom yoga class. Now, this isn't promoting myself. I am just going to show you or tell you eight tips to get you into your first Zoom yoga class. Now, this can be with any teacher. So let's begin and start our conversation. If you do have any questions during this, please leave me a comment. If you are on Instagram, can you just let me know that you can hear me, because I sometimes have problems with the microphone. But if you do have any questions during this, please just let me know, leave me a comment, and I will get back to you when I can. So today we're talking about how to get into your first Zoom yoga class. So since 2020, I feel like there's been a lot of talk about online courses, classes, and Zoom has come up a lot of times. Now, I feel like maybe before 2020, nobody actually even knew what Zoom was. And then since 2020, it's obviously just become a really popular program. So yoga classes are great to do in person. They're great to get feedback, and it's great to do yoga classes on YouTube. And I feel like Zoom yoga kind of brings all this together, because you get the benefit of doing the yoga class at your home, so in the comfort of your home, maybe in your pajamas with the kids running around, with the cats on and off your mat. But you also get the feedback from a teacher, because a teacher is there on the opposite side, and she or he can see exactly what you're doing and be able to correct you. So it's a great option if you cannot get to a class. And I speak about this a lot because I do tend to work with a lot of parents, a lot of mums who are stuck at home with the kids and just physically cannot get to a yoga class. So today, let's talk about the ways to get you into your first yoga class. Okay, so the first tip, I think I've got about 8 tips for you today. The first tip is to do some research. Now, this is going to seem pretty obvious, but do some research is the first tip, because how can you join a yoga class when you don't know who you want to join? Like, who you want to actually do a yoga class with, right? So you need to do a little bit of research and find a teacher that you actually want to work with and to be in a class with. So, you can go on to Google and you can type yoga teachers and stuff like this, but honestly, Google is a little bit biased, and it's going to come up with the most popular ones at the top and the ones who are paying for ads. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't go with them. Obviously, please feel free to go with them if you like them and you want to go with them. But it's worth doing a few classes first, just to get the feel for the teacher. Every person teaches differently. And if you don't like yoga with one person, try it with somebody else. Because my first yoga class, I hated it. And I didn't go back for ages. And then I did a class with another teacher and I absolutely loved it. Same with YouTube. I've done so many yoga videos on YouTube, and there's a couple of teachers that I just didn't resonate with, and there's others that I absolutely loved. So everybody teaches different. So my favorite thing to do is to go on YouTube, because there's a lot of yoga teachers on YouTube, and I kind of tend to search for teachers who haven't got a bigger following, mainly because they're a little bit more in depth with what they're teaching. They don't have a big audience, so they're trying to get seen, which means they're actually giving away a lot of information, and a lot of good information as well. So one thing to look out for here is think about what kind of yoga you like to do. Okay, so don't just go onto YouTube and type in yoga teacher or yoga classes. Get specific. So for me, for my kind of lifestyle, I would type in yoga class for busy mum and then see what comes up. And then I kind of take a scroll, maybe try out a couple of teachers, see what their classes are like, see if there's one I resonate with. Okay, so that's step number 1. Do your research, find out all the different yoga teachers, find out which style resonates most with you, because yeah, there are so many. And obviously I would type in yoga class for busy mum, but you could type in something like yoga for inflexible people, yoga for athletes, yoga for someone in the menopause, yoga for someone suffering with depression, yoga for someone with back problems. You know, there's all these different types of things that you can search and find a teacher that resonates. And this goes for as well stuff for specific reasons that you want to do yoga. So you could type in, let's just do an example, yoga classes with the chakras. So if you're looking for the spiritual side of yoga and you're going through that, if you know the different types of yoga, vinyasa class yoga, hatha class yoga, yoga for, I don't know, spiritual awakening, you know, all these kind of things. Just really think about what it is that you want to get from yoga and search that. Yoga for a better night's sleep. Okay, there's all these different things. So that's step number 1. Number 2 is to, well, actually, before we go on to number 2, once you've done that, you can then search that teacher. Okay, so most of the time on YouTube or any kind of platform, there's a link to a website. So on YouTube, you go onto the YouTube platform, there's a banner at the top normally on their homepage, and then down the side there's normally a little button for their website. So you click on that, contact them, ask them if they're doing Zoom yoga classes, ask them if they're teaching online. Most yoga teachers are going to be extremely happy to have a conversation about this. So give them a message and ask. And this again is another problem with the bigger channels. They're not personally, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they're not the ones checking these messages. They're not the ones, you know, they're busy. They've got 1,000 classes, like millions of students to look after. They're not checking their message to see if someone's asking about a Zoom class. Okay, so these smaller channels will get back to you quicker. So I would try that. Give them a message, just see if they have any Zoom classes. If not, it's fine. Go back on, find another teacher, ask them. So getting in contact with them and with the right teacher is key for this. Okay, so step number 2 is then to download Zoom. Okay, so technical side, you need to download Zoom to be able to do a Zoom class, right? You need the app. Either on your phone, there's an app, or on your computer. You can sometimes go into the desktop, but sometimes it will ask you to either download something or to update some plugins on your computer, which you might need to do. So if your computer's a little bit out of date, you may need to do that. So that's the next step. And then once you've got your Zoom class or your Zoom setup, the teacher will then normally send you an invite. So at the time and date of the class, that's when you get an invite sent to them, okay? Now in this invite, there could be a password. So most of the time nowadays, Zoom classes will have passwords, just for security reasons. So when they send that through, just have a little scan, check if there's a password. You can like highlight it to copy it. And then you'll just go into Zoom at the time and date that you're meant to, and it could say, add your password. Just paste your password in there, and you should be let in. Now, the reason for this is because sometimes there can be Zoom bombers. So these are people that are uninvited and, you know, come in and just be silly in the class. Now, I have been on so many Zoom calls and I've never had this happen to me. I've never been in a Zoom call and had it happen to them, but there's stories out there. So just be careful. And yeah, I mean, the password it's just there for safety, really. Okay, so put the password in. That's number 3. Step 4 is to show up at the time and date. So you show up at the time and date. That's when you get the link. Type in your password. And then there'll probably be like a waiting room. So normally yoga teachers will have a waiting room so that when the time comes for the class, they can just let everybody in. And again, this is more for security, for checking that the teacher is letting in all the students. So normally your name will come up as well. So if you have like a really random name, you might want to change it to your name, or like a name that you signed up to the class with, because if the teacher doesn't recognize the name, she may not let you in. So just make sure that, you know, you're showing up on time, you've got your name, you've put the password in right, and then the teacher will let you in at the time of the yoga class. So obviously, because you're doing this from your home, there's not much that you need, okay? You don't even actually need a yoga mat, you could just do this on the floor. Now with Zoom, it will ask about a camera and video. Now you don't have to have these things to do a Zoom class. Some, I'll give you an example, my computer, like my big computer, you know, old-fashioned proper computers, not a laptop, that one doesn't have a camera. There's no kind of camera, so it just shows that I don't have a camera. It just says camera not available. So you don't have to have a camera. Now, normally when you're about to go into the Zoom room, it will say, do you want to join with your camera on or your camera off? So you've got that option to kind of change. Now, you can have your camera on, and for beginners, I would really recommend this because it's great for the teacher to be able to see you, to check what you're doing, to give you help, but also though, so that the teacher doesn't go too fast. So when the teacher can see the students, they will know when to slow down because they're watching. So if it looks like the students are taking a little while to catch up, they can slow it down a little bit, okay? So it's really great for feedback. Now, the same with the microphone. Normally the teacher, so you don't actually have to worry about this, but I'm just letting you guys know. So normally the teacher will mute everybody at the start of the class, because the last thing you want is, you know, some noise going on in the background, then you can't hear the teacher. I've had this in a class and I never did that Zoom class again because he didn't turn off all the mics, and it happened twice in a row, and I thought, you know what, I'm just had enough of this. So just be aware, the teacher will probably mute everybody, but just, you know, try and be polite. It's like being in a class, really. You wouldn't be like shouting at your kids if you're in a yoga class, right? Unless you're muted. So make sure that your camera and mic are what you want them, on or off. Microphone normally off. So that leads me into the next one, which is camera safety. So be careful, okay? So tip number 6, be careful in your Zoom class because you're on camera, or you could be on camera if you've got your camera on. So yes, you can do yoga in your underwear, in your pajamas or whatever, but maybe turn your camera off. Remember that someone's watching. The class can sometimes be recorded as well, so you don't want this on the recording. If you go to the toilet, turn your camera off. If you've got, I don't know, kids running around in the background and you don't want them on the camera, turn it off. Okay, so many yoga classes that I go to, and I don't have the camera on at all because I've got Alexis running in and out of the camera view, or to be honest, I'm like half doing the class, running to get a snack, doing the class, running to get a drink, doing the class, pushing the cats off my mats because they're scratching the cat. I don't want the teacher to see that. It's like she's going to think I'm not participating. So it's completely up to you if you have the camera on or off, but just be aware of camera safety when you are on Zoom. So the next tip, which I think is actually the last one, is obviously when the class ends. So when the Zoom class ends, normally the teacher will, you know, close down the class, she'll end the class, and this is your chance to say bye. So most people in most classes that I've been to will unmute themselves, say thank you for the class, bye, have a great weekend. And then there's normally like a little button down at the bottom right hand side where you can end class. So you just click on this and it all closes down. Sometimes the teacher will do this, so if you stay on too long, the teacher will end, and the screen will just disappear. But just be aware, if you are on a phone, I've done this, if you're on a phone and you accidentally kind of like swipe off the screen and you're doing something else on your phone, Zoom could still be running in the background, so make sure that you click that red button to end the class. I've like done it before and I didn't realise that my microphone was off, and the teacher was like, Leah, Leah, you're still on. I'm like, oh, sorry, because they were hanging about to speak to somebody else. So just make sure that you end the class before you close down the screen. So just double check everything. And that is pretty much it. So I think the main thing to take from this is, you know, go and research some teachers, find a teacher that you like, and just personally reach out to them and ask if they're doing a Zoom class. They'll send you a link. All the instructions are then within that. So I hope that this helps and that you can enjoy your first Zoom class without panicking so much about how to do it. And the technical side, you know, as I said, when the link comes through, normally all the instructions are there. You click on a link, and if you don't have Zoom, it'll say download Zoom now. And then you just follow the next step. Okay, it's normally pretty simple. Now, if any of you are interested in my Zoom yoga classes, I actually don't do like one-off classes. All my Zoom yoga classes are all in my membership. So the only way that you could do Zoom yoga with me is in there. But if you do want to have a look at that, the doors actually close tomorrow. I don't keep my doors open to my membership because I want to fully concentrate on my students that are in there. So the doors close tomorrow at 9 p.m. UK time. On Instagram, the link is in my bio if you want to go check that out. On Facebook, just scroll down my feed because I've been posting about it. So you'll see that the membership details are there. But that's pretty much it. So go and find a teacher you like and go and practice from the comfort of your home, but still getting the great feedback from a yoga teacher, and enjoy your class. Thank you so much for watching today. I will be back again next Wednesday with another live. I'm unsure what time I'm going to do that yet. I'm pretty sure Wednesday is Alexa's first day back at school after the summer holidays. So I may do it in the day again, but I will make a post and let everybody know. So enjoy your week. I was going to say weekend, but it's still the middle of the week, isn't it? Enjoy your week, and I'll speak to you all soon. If you have any questions at all, feel free to DM me. I'm about. Thank you.